Yo, what is good YouTube? I'm Richie Kim, and today I'm going to be bringing you all the performance review on the Jordan Zion 3 SE. Before we get started, if you all enjoy sneaker content just like this, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below, and also hit that thumbs up button so you never miss another video just like this one. But anyways, let's get right into it. As always, starting off with the traction, the Zion 3 SE features the exact same traction pattern as the Zion 3. So what you're gonna get is a combination of herringbone and like a radial mixed with herringbone. And you know, when you hear those types of traction patterns, you automatically think really good traction. And that's just not the case with the Zion 3 SE. So I never played in the regular Zion 3. But I'm assuming the traction is going to be pretty much the exact same as the regular Zion 3. And what you're going to get is, you know, not, like I said, not great traction. You know, if you're playing on very clean courts, you probably won't have too many issues. You might have to wipe like very, very rarely. But if you are playing on your, you know, your average gym courts, like your LA Fitness, 24-hour fitness, you know, so on and so forth, you're probably going to be sliding to a stop, maybe even slip out if you really let that dust accumulate. So like I said, you know, for me, when I played on my dustier courts, I really could not get a very good bite. Even after wiping, you just kind of slide to a stop, and the slides get, you know, more, I don't know, they just get longer and longer. The longer you let the dust accumulate on the outsole. So yeah, I mean, wiping does help, but honestly, like if you're playing on dustier courts, this traction is just not it. I never had a single solid bite on those dustier courts. But like I mentioned, if you are playing on your clean courts, you will have good traction. It's still not like the best or anything. I wouldn't say it's the hardest bite, but you will have like decent traction on those clean courts. So moving on to the cushion, this is where the Zion 3 SE differs from the regular Zion 3. In the regular Zion 3, you had a combination of 4-foot zoom and I think like some type of Jordan brand foam. I forget the specific name off the top of my head, but in the Zion 3 SE, what you're gonna get is a full-length drop-in midsole with full-length zoom. And this is very similar to what was used in the Kobe 11 when you could customize it. So if you all ever played in the Kobe 11s and you did your like Nike ID or whatever, there was an option for a full-length zoom drop-in midsole, and that is exactly what's being used in here. So what you're gonna get is, you know, this nice zoom cushion. It's not articulated zoom, it's not the Zoom Turbo or anything like that. It is just a full-length one-piece zoom unit. And personally, after playing, you know, in the full-length Zoom Turbos or whatever it's called, it feels not as good in my opinion. The cushion set up in like what, the KD 12, 13, and 14, I believe, or maybe it was just a 12 and the 14. I honestly forget, you know, all those older models, but I think that feels a little bit better than what's featured in here. What you're gonna get is like, I wouldn't say it's like overly bouncy or anything, but it does provide a lot of comfort. You still feel like kind of low to the ground. The midsole is like a little bit chunky. So you do have like foam and that zoom in here. But it is very comfortable. You're gonna get a lot of impact protection. You do get decent court feel, but overall, you know, I'm not really gonna complain about a full-length zoom unit shoe. But I personally think that the articulated full-length zoom units, or I guess just full-length zoom, is better than what they kind of use in here. So moving on to the materials, this is where the Zion 3 SE is a little bit different than the regular Zion 3. On the regular Zion 3, I believe you get like some sort of like mesh material, but on here you do have like a more premium feeling material. I feel like this is like a synthetic nubuck or some sort. I don't think this is real nubuck. It kind of feels kind of like felt a little bit, but not too much like felt. I really don't know how to explain it. You kind of just have to touch it to really understand what I mean. But I mean, it does give it a little bit, you know, more of a premium feel compared to like a mesh upper. And you're pretty much gonna get that across the entire shoe. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the performance, it gets the job done very well. I mean, this material does a great job of making sure your foot isn't sliding around everywhere. And from a like quality standpoint, it is definitely more premium feeling than, just regular mesh. Moving to the tongue, I'm not sure if the tongue is any different at all, but you're gonna get like this mesh material with some foam in it. And I would say this isn't like the most padded tongue, but if you do like to crank down your laces, you won't feel the laces digging into your foot because this shoe actually comes with these wide flat laces as well. And I guess you could consider this part of the materials too. So yeah, overall, the material usage on this shoe is fine. Do I wish this kind of felt a little bit less like felt? Yes, but in terms of the quality, I would say it's adequate. And in terms of the performance, it gets the job done just fine. So moving on to the fit of the Zion 3 SE, like I said, I never played in the regular Zion 3, so I'm not sure if anything really changed in the fit department, but at least for me, the Zion 3 SE is definitely narrow. If you have narrow feet or normal feet, I think going true to size is probably the way to go. But if you have, a little wide feet or extra wide feet or just wide feet, you might want to go up a half size. I do have slightly wide feet, and my feet definitely felt some pressure and some slight pain in the shoe just because this is very narrow. I will say over time though, it did feel a little bit better, but me personally, I think going up a half size as any kind of wide footer is probably your best bet. If you have really wide feet, you might want to even go up a whole size. But yeah, for me, I definitely could have gone up a half size and I would have been a lot more comfortable. But outside of the narrowness of the shoe, I feel like everything else is pretty nice. I would say this forefoot area is very snug. The materials lie very nicely over the foot. This tongue is kind of like a half booty. It is connected like to a quarter of the tongue. So your tongue isn't gonna be flying around or anything. But yeah, overall, I would say that the fit is good. Just be careful if you do have wide feet. You might want to go up a half size or even a whole size. So moving on to the support, this is also where things differ between the Zion 3 and the Zion 3 SE. Starting off with the heel, you do have an internal heel counter and it does a great job of making sure your heel is nice and locked in place. You also have these like Achilles pillows over here to make sure that your heel and you're just extra secure in this back portion of the shoe. As far as side-to-side movement on the footbed goes, like I mentioned, the materials do a great job of making sure your foot is contained, and you actually have this rubber piece that protrudes up onto the upper of the shoe to act as a sidewall. And what's different between the Zion 3 SE and the regular Zion 3 is this strap. It's a midfoot strap. It does, actually do something. Personally, I don't really like straps. But that's because most of the time the strap is literally just there for like aesthetics and doesn't really do too much. However, I will say that the strap in here does actually add a little bit of lockdown. You definitely feel, like your midfoot is a little bit more secure with this strap. So I guess it's fine. Still, personally, I would rather it not have a strap because I think it just gets in the way, especially, when you're trying to lace up your shoes. But yeah, I mean, the strap, it does add additional support, which is great. In terms of your lateral movements, you're gonna be covered as well. You do have like a decently wide base and you do have this rubber outrigger that the outsole forms. So you aren't gonna be rolling over on those hard lateral movements. And actually, you even have an outrigger right here in the middle of the shoe because this is narrow. So I'm kind of glad that they did add this like rubber piece or like protrusion from the outsole just to make sure you are extra stable on those lateral movements. And as far as torsional rigidity and stability goes, you are pretty much covered there as well. I would definitely say this isn't the most stiff shoe just because, this is, it has that full length drop in midsole. So basically any of the torsion that you get out of the shoe is gonna be pretty much from this outsole and whatever is included in that midsole, which is just foam in a zoom unit or full length zoom unit. So definitely not the most, stiff and rigid as you all can see here, but honestly, I never had any issues when it comes to that. So overall, I would say that the support in the Zion 3 SE is actually pretty good. So the Zion 3 SE retails for $150, and honestly, for $150, I can't recommend this shoe. I'd say everything about the shoe is good except for the traction. The traction is just absolutely terrible. And most of us aren't playing on those NBA courts, so what we're playing on is normally pretty dusty. And like I said, the traction performance on the dust is just not good. So yeah, I honestly can't recommend this. Maybe if you're a player that doesn't move too much like linearly or laterally, you might enjoy this because honestly, everything else is pretty solid. But it's just a traction for me. I can't recommend it because of that. But yeah, you know, if you all did want to pick up a pair of these, I'll leave a link for you down in the description box below. But that's pretty much it for this performance review. If y'all like this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below, hit that like button, and please leave a comment. Help me boost my channel back to where it was. You know, I did take that 1 year break and it did kind of mess up I guess like the algorithm for my channel. So any sort of interaction that you all do greatly helps me, and I would truly appreciate it. So yeah, while you all are at it, check out these videos over here, and that's pretty much it. Until next time, peace.